I've really enjoyed it. It's thrill just to go start the well and just watch how it works. And you know, instead of wetting the whole ground and melting the clods down to where the ground will blow worse, it just wets a little strip, unless you're putting a high volume of water on. And when I started watering cotton back early, you could look across where I was putting on the 1/2 inch, and you couldn't even tell that it was running. The ground looked dry. So the difference in the water on this wide versus the whole, all the top of the ground being wet, that's a tremendous amount of evaporation loss difference. Plus, especially on cotton, you know, if we don't seal the top of that ground over and make that, which makes it blow worse, well, that's another advantage. When I'm putting chemical on, if there's a you know, if the rain fast of the chemical is like 8 or 12 hours, well, I can put it on and start the sprinkler immediately behind the spray rig. You know, since we're not wetting the canopy of the crop, we're not washing any of the chemical off, and you know, we can start immediately behind the sprayer. Which, you know, there's a lot of advantages like that, the small ones, and all those small ones added up to be huge, you know, in the end. Being able to put that small amount of water on and get it down in the root zone is, without all that evaporation loss, is a big plus. I wouldn't have had any wheel track at all if I hadn't had to go to the sprays. I don't know yet, but I'm thinking about putting maybe half circle sprays on and turning the head back and just let it spray down just for emergence, because I can get this ground wet enough pre-watering it that I don't need but a 1/2 inch for emergence, or maybe 3/4 for incorporated chemical. So that's not going to make much of a wheel track one trip, and that'll be the only water in that track ever, unless something happens that I go back to the sprays for insecticide or whatever. This is what it does. It just curls this hose up and it just heads right back the other way, the opposite direction when you reverse it. I've had no problem with reversing it. I've reversed it planting. I reversed it. This cotton's probably been sprayed 4 times. I've reversed it spraying. It's been reversed several times, and no problem. When you're 30 inches apart, it's going to be definitely better to plant in a circle, because that way you're not dragging the hoses across the top of the plant. But as far as the water application, you're still 30 inches. You know, and if that hose is in the center of a 30-inch cotton row, it's 15 inches to each side. And if you're dragging across, it's still 15 inches from the dragging line to the center of the next dragging line. So as far as the water application, I can't see that it'd be much difference. But as far as dragging the dragging line across the crop, that's where the difference would be. You know, there's some like southern rust in the corn right now. If that water was put on with the dragging line, that might not provoke the southern rust to set in. I know cotton doesn't like water sprayed over the top of it, so that's another plus on cotton. And to me, the weaker the water is, the better the dragging line will be, because it extends your water so much. You can take less gallons and do more with the dragging line than you can the bubble pads or the sprays. And on a windy day, you know, that's just a given. It's night and day difference. You know, we've had some 60-mile-an-hour wind. As a matter of fact, I think one night, during the night, we had like 70-mile-an-hour wind. All the hoses were right where they were. And if it does blow the hoses around, all you gotta do is start the sprinkler and they'll all just fall back in line like they were. So wind is no problem for them. I used to farm at Tuya up until 1972, and we just about run out of water down there. That's the reason I moved to Dumas. So unless you've run out of water, you don't know what that's like. Of course, everybody that's their water's getting weaker, they know what it's like. And here we've got a water district, and we can only use 1.5 acres of water a year. And if you go over the one time, it's just not too bad. But if you go over the second time, it's not real good. But that third time you won't do it the fourth time. So the fine is severe after third time. So we've got to figure out some way to raise the bushels per acre or pounds per acre that we've been raising on less water.